Welcome to this edition of Small Business Breakthroughs presented by the Ohio Small Business Development Center at Columbus State Community College, also known as the SBDC. My name is Mike Bowers. I am the director of the SBDC here in Central Ohio. And today we are excited to have Courtney Smyser, who is the CEO of the Hilliard Area Chamber of Commerce. And we're going to be talking about chambers of commerce and how you can get the most bang for your buck by participating in your local chamber of commerce. Also want to thank the Dublin Entrepreneurial Center for partnering with us on this endeavor. The DEC, as the Dublin Entrepreneurial Center is known as, is a entrepreneurial space in Dublin. It is connected with Dark Points, and it is a great venue for smaller companies or space for individuals who may have an interest in maybe moving from a home-based business to either getting an office in a space that is focused on entrepreneurial development, or just having a virtual hotspot location that you can use their address and use the conference rooms and different things of that nature. It is a great space for you to connect with other entrepreneurs, whether that be to network and maybe create business relationships, or just to have somebody that you can talk to. Because I know oftentimes being a entrepreneur and a small business owner can get kind of lonely because you're doing the work and you don't necessarily have a lot of good connections you can work with. So the DEC is a great place for you to check out. You can contact them through their website at DEC, that's DEC, in Dublin.com. And I believe Bruce has put the contact information in the chat. So if you have any questions on that, feel free to reach out to them and schedule a time to come in and take a tour and check it out, because I think you'll really enjoy that. So this is a session that I've actually wanted to do for quite a while. Something I have worked with chambers of commerce. I've been involved in chambers of commerce. I was actually the board president of the Union County Chamber of Commerce back in, I don't know, the early 1990s. So I've got a lot of experience there. I worked for the Columbus Chamber of Commerce for 5 years in the early 2000s. And I think that there's a lot of value for small business owners to get involved with chambers of commerce. However, I also know that, one, it can get confusing because there's a lot of different types of chambers in commerce. Who should you be involved in? Different things of that nature. And, you got to think about, okay, there is a cost to being involved. So how do I get my return on that investment? So today we are going to be discussing that. And Courtney is joining us from the Hilliard Area Chamber of Commerce. And we are going to dive into that. So Courtney, thank you for joining us today, and look forward to diving into the world of chambers of commerce.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. So why don't we get started? Why don't you kind of give us some of your background? Because again, I what you bring to the chamber is great, because you bring a lot of membership, knowledge and things of that nature that I think makes a big difference as it relates to connecting with the small business owners. So give us a little bit about your background and different things like that, kind of what led you back here, because you were from here, but back here, and then tell us a little bit about the Hilliard Area Chamber of Commerce.
Okay, so I grew up in Hilliard, Ohio, attended Hilliard schools, went to Ohio U, and I left, just wanted to move around. As my dad said, you can always come home, which I did 2 years ago. But my entire professional career has been always in a member-based organization, so very familiar with membership organizations and how to cater to their needs. But we were in Arizona, so golf association, construction associations, but also, it's like you're there to serve your membership regardless of what the affiliation is. Moved back to the Hilliard area about 2 years ago. And so my predecessor actually was my mother, Libby Garrock. She retired after about 32 years with the Hilliard Area Chamber of Commerce, and the office coordinator position was open. So interviewed with the board, accepted the job, and she retired. Been in this position. She retired in middle of April, so about 4 months, 5 months. Still call her about once a week to get her expertise, because she obviously knows it back of her hand. But the Hilliard Area Chamber of Commerce is unique in that we are a very community driven. Anyway, we partner well with our city and our schools. We have bi-monthly meetings with our city just to see what's going on their end, what they're hearing in the community. And then we share what we're hearing from our members. And then if there's a bridge that we need to gap that they can address or we can address, we are starting to work on that. We are just, local. We are here to support our member businesses and just to help our local economy thrive. Hilliard is, as all suburbs are currently, but we are just experiencing rapid growth, and it's just an exciting place to live, work, play, and be right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that if you're not familiar with a lot of the suburbs around Columbus, well, entire Central Ohio, I mean, it's really growing like wild. And you have different communities that I think have different infrastructures and different things of that nature. I know that Hilliard is one of the, I'm going to say this, the strongest suburbs, here. I mean, they're really aggressive. It's always been really aggressive in terms of trying to create a great quality of life for the residents there, and really trying to have that kind of community feel within a larger ecosystem. I mean,
Yeah.
you're right up against Columbus, and you're next to Dublin and all of this. And I personally, like, I live in Marysville, which is about 15 miles away. So we have that kind of community there, but there's nobody right on top of us, where it gets a little bit different here, because you're on the same road and you end up in one community to the next community, the next community. But I think Hilliard's always done a great job in terms of really trying to create that hometown feel. And having grown up there, you've probably experienced that.
Yes.
Yeah. So you mentioned some of this, and I forgot about this too. So the connections that the chamber there does with the community, with the local government, different municipal entities. But I forgot too about the schools, because I know that the school system has really grown in Hilliard over the years, and that connection between the business community and the school district is really critical. So go a little bit more. You talked a little bit about some of your bi-monthly meetings, but what are some of the things that the chamber does really kind of on behalf of the small businesses in connection with these different community governments and things?
So we're just trying to stay like what we are developing and continuing to grow our business advocacy committee. So one thing that's unique about all of chambers of commerce in our area, as you mentioned, we're all surrounded by a bunch of them. We all work very well together, and there's some of our membership is fluid, but sometimes they just kind of stay in the region where their business is. So we modeled our business advocacy committee after Westerville's. Janet was very accommodating and supporting us in developing our committee. But getting signage is always new business. When you establish new business in a community, what are the steps to get your business permitting, signage up and running? So we are lucky in Hilliard to have two different women that work within the city, Alex Boomershine and Angela Zodi. So they're our direct connect. So if any of our members have a question, if they come to me, if I don't know it, that's fine. I'm going to ask somebody who does or connect them with someone who does. So our signage issues, just the bylaws got revised, which is, it lessens the burden on the business.
Mhm.
So just things like that. It's just like so as a chamber, we know who to go to, and then the city, they know who to go to, just to try and, we want to see everyone be successful.
Right. So in Hilliard, tell me the difference about some of the things as a small business owner, because you have the downtown,
Mm-hmm.
the old downtown area, which is great. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. As a business owner to be there versus to be out on, you know, out the other side where it's a little bit more commercial oriented.
Yeah, so that's why we have those two. That's why the city has identified the two different areas. So like the downtown Old Hilliard area, Angela covers, and then the rest of the city, Alex and her staff that they cover as well. So if someone's being touched by someone from the chamber, someone from the city, even though we are two different entities, but that way they know who their person to go to is versus, trying to navigate the websites or calling. That way they have that direct connect. So I think that's what makes our city unique as well, is like our businesses know who to contact to get the ball rolling to whatever they need to accomplish that day.
Yeah, and that's the nice thing too, is about having that connection, because you're able to, as a business owner, if you don't know where you're going, you can make a call and you will get directed to the right place at minimum, if not directly taken care of. Whereas I've seen a lot of times you go here and we don't do that,
Mm-hmm.
then you got to try to figure out where you go and different things like that. And to have that kind of, I always like to call it kind of a one-stop kind of thing. We do that with the SBDC in terms of different partner organizations. So if somebody needs certification for their business, while we may not directly do the certifications, we can get you to the people that do the certifications. And we can help get you prepped and different things of that nature. So having that kind of that one-stop mentality where you can kind of be comfortable as a small business owner, that you're not going to be chasing your tail around trying to figure out where to go, I think is really critical.
Mm-hmm.
So when we think about chambers of commerce, you know, my experience, obviously, there's a variety of different chambers of commerce. I mentioned that I worked for the Columbus Chamber of Commerce, and that is a metro chamber which covers, you know, the larger scope of Columbus. And then you have ones like like the Hilliard Area Chamber of Commerce. You mentioned Westerville. And then you also have a variety of others. So you have like the Ohio Chamber, you have the US Chamber,
Mm-hmm.
you have all of these different things. And there's even a number of different chambers of commerce that appear to be more specialized. I know there's an African American Chamber of Commerce, there's a uh, Christian Chamber of Commerce. There's all kinds of different things there. Veterans Chamber of Commerce. So, what's your experience in thinking through how these chambers of commerce serve in different ways?
It's just the needs of what the business is trying to accomplish, probably that snapshot in any time. I think overall, all of our goal is to promote our chambers, advocate on or our businesses, advocate on their behalf. But and that's what I'm trying to figure out too, is we are getting new members. We're asking them. So we have an ambassador committee. So when you join the Hilliard Area Chamber of Commerce, you are assigned an ambassador for your longevity as you're a member. So that way they're reaching out to you monthly saying, how are things going? But, these are the upcoming events. I'd love to see you at one. So you don't just get lost in the sea of joining. But the question we are asking our members is, why did you join? So that way we can kind of curtail, we're always going to do our high level. This is what we do as a chamber. But like, if you join for a specific reason, we want to make sure that we're hitting that benchmark so we can retain you as a member and get your value added, why you joined. But I think for the different chambers of commerce that you mentioned, Columbus is diverse and getting even more diverse. So I think we all need those different associations and all to work together, um, so that they can come together, um, and just, keep growing our economic community.
Okay. And so we do have a question here. It says, what Chamber of Commerce would you join if you live in Franklin County? And how how do you support family child care? And I'm sure I understand the back part of it, but if you live in kind of the unincorporated areas of Franklin County, again, what's your thoughts there? Mhm.
I would say it's where you're going to focus your business and or marketing efforts and where your customers are. So Franklin County, yeah, there's a ton of chambers within our county. So we're called the Hilliard area for a reason, because we're Hilliard. We have Columbus segments, we have Galloway, excuse me, Plain City is adjacent, even though but just like, what area are you trying to, where do you live? Where's your business are? So we are actually, the majority of our members are 1 to 3 or 4 to 9 employees. So we are smaller. So it's just like, where is your customer base? So that's one thing you want to focus is like, and if it's a broader net than that, you might want to look at joining 1 or 2 chambers, um, just to serve your customers and get, your clients.
Yeah, absolutely. Barbara, if you want to give me a little bit more detail on the second part of that question, we'll be happy to get a little bit more on the response there. I think too, though, that it's important to kind of think about, and you hit it on the head. Why did you join? What are you looking for in a chamber? Because if you think about the Ohio Chamber of Commerce, now I'm sure they have different pieces and parts, but I used to be on a small business committee with the Ohio Chamber, but the Ohio Chamber's role, while it's still obviously membership, but their role is advocacy. So they're really advocating on behalf of the small business to the government, the state government, in some cases, federal government, et cetera.
Yeah. And so I attended the Ohio Chamber Day in September last month, and it was, yeah, they're on their game for the whole advocacy thing. So I'm glad that I attended that meeting downtown. There's some interesting and great bills coming down the pipeline for businesses once session gets back underway. That'll make a positive impact on our business community. And daily they send up updates. Anybody can sign up for their newsletter, just like what's going on. It's the things you need to know that's happening in the state house. And that way and that's what we're doing our members. Like, if it directs, if it affects our members, then we have members, we're signing up, separate listservs, like here's our, the events listserv, things you need to know from the chamber, things you want to know from advocacy side, and then just letting them know. So like I said, our majority of our members are 10 employees and less. So their day, they're wearing many hats, whether they're the HR, marketing, business owner,
Right.
customer service. So it's like trying to take things off of their plate, like, hey, this is important, you need to know it. That way you don't need, we all get a lot of emails, just trying to be conscious of what we're sending and when we're sending.
Right. And I think that one of the values of your local chamber, like the one in Hilliard, is, again, if stuff's coming out of the the local government there in Hilliard, you guys are connected with that, and you can make sure that the word is spread out to the business owners, the small business owners that are your members, and at the same time, that you are connected in there, or you have a committee that's connected in there, so that the voice of the small business community in Hilliard is represented along to the government.
Yes.
Yeah. So so I think that's really, really valuable and something to take a look at. What did you say? So what's your membership size?
We are at 480, and we are a staff of 2. That's why our ambassadors and my board are so important.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we are growing, and we just 2025. So we had our strategic planning retreat the beginning of 2024, and we have our 3 key things to focus on. It's just like, that's like just the touching back. It's like, why did you join? I want to make sure we all want to make sure that you are getting the why out of your membership.
Right. Right. Yeah. And that's something I think that's important too. It's especially, well, and I think it's all of them. I mean, when I was with the Columbus Chamber, I don't even remember how many employees we had. We probably had 75 employees. And I know they don't have 75 employees now because, times have changed. But, it's not uncommon for especially some of the suburban chambers or some of these kind of external chambers to again have a strong member base, but that member base has to be active
Mhm.
for the operation of the chamber because there's only a couple of paid folks usually.
Yeah.
Right. Um, so so let's talk a little bit about the kind of the value for chambers and for chamber members. Um, so you mentioned that when somebody joins,
Mhm.
they get an ambassador, which
Mhm.
is great, and you're really trying to get an understanding of you know why did they join, what are they looking for, and once you get that information, you have the ambassador. I mean, um, what happens with that? How do you actually start to help that member uh, get the value and the return that they're looking for?
So we've set up an automatic drip email campaign that just reminds them because it's, information overload. Just like, so there's emails that are just triggered out through our email system to like, don't forget, like, as a new member, you can attend this event. You can, just being a part of the chamber makes your business more reputable. You're going to get referrals. Like if someone calls me, calls the office, my staff, Tanya and I, we're going to, you're going to get referrals. If someone calls for a roofer, it's going to be one of my roofing members. It's just the um, benefit of being, being an active member of our community. But also it's like, so when back to your question, it's just like the chamber benefit is, it's just kind of that stamp of I'm invested in the community. We want to be here and trying to, just like that, but just those little questions like, and I don't know what I don't know. That's what we're trying to communicate is like, let me help you, but I don't know what I don't know. So we do ask, we have connections in coffee. I always say, like, I know in a public setting, like if you have a want, need, or a lead, if you don't feel comfortable saying it out loud in front of people because no one wants to admit their shortcomings, let me know on the side because you don't know, we don't know who you know, but it's all about the connections and trying to make that relationship and putting them in touch so we can, raise all ships. There's room for everybody.
Right, right. So I know you have various meetings and things, and that's one of the questions we have in the chat. I mean, um, you talked about having monthly and bi-monthly meetings and things of that nature. Tell us a little bit more about what the various meetings are and how do they work? I mean, what happens in those meetings? And do you have both live and virtual meetings, or how does that work?
We are all in person. We're starting, so we have a couple different meetings. So we have our closed door board meetings every month.
Sure.
The bi-monthly meetings with us in the city, that's in person. That's just kind of talking about like they just let us know what's going on, what they can, and we let them know what's going on our end. We have monthly events, like I said, the coffee events are monthly. We have moved, and so we have luncheons, quarterly luncheons, and or breakfast that's open to the public. So last month we had our city manager Michelle Crandall and our school superintendent Dave Stewart talk about what's going on in the city and the schools, just kind of stay the city, stay the schools. And that was really well attended. Our um, next month is going to be a breakfast meeting, but we have Kathy McPhillips coming down actually from Cleveland to talk about how you can use AI in your marketing. I personally use AI daily. I love it. But she's just like, for the small business, it's like, how can you get your social media? And then leading into that, we are starting to do, like I said, we're going to do some smaller coffee luncheons here or breakfast in the office. Just I'll have coffee. We have a couple, so we have Amy Lammers that'll be doing a session on HR for small business, I mean businesses, but like, small businesses might not have an HR department. So like what should they be set up to do? We're gonna have a gentleman, Walt Ozello, talk about marketing. Like it's not seriously what it's like what you content over uh, you know, just quality content versus constant posting. We're going to have Blue Team Networks come in and talk about cybersecurity and why everyone should have it at any
Right.
size
Mhm.
business. So we're trying to add those member value educational opportunities that, might be a little bit more niche. And so that's like, we're trying to, and actually that's what we heard from the city. They told us that they're hearing they want more educational topics coming from the chamber. So that's something that we're kind of developing. So that's calling that like our small business coffee series, in addition to our luncheons that we have. Um, so that's going to be our focus for the next year's continuing ed.
Okay. And you sounded like most of them, if not all of them, were in person.
Yeah, so they are in person. We tried to do the virtual thing, and it's just, I think people, our community is receptive to in person.
Right. Right. Okay. Yeah, no, and that's great because it also allows you to network a little bit
Mhm.
and things like that. So as far as the meeting, so you talk about the various meetings and different things like that. There's a lot of information, a lot of speakers, a lot of opportunities for you to learn and get valuable stuff that you can apply to your business. But let's talk about the kind of the networking that's associated with that, both within the membership and you know outside networking with you guys and different things like that, so that that business is known, I guess, for lack of a better word. Mhm.
Yeah, so at each luncheon, breakfast, they can drop their business card into a glass bowl. And so we have business monthly spotlight on a business. So, and they can't win, like they can't do it within only once a year if they happen to win. But that way they're on our website, push it on our social media. That's say out of all of our channels, our Facebook is amazing. We have over 10,000 organic followers. So you're gonna see it once we push that out. Um, kind of lost the question. So yeah, so our business meetings, we're just trying to highlight, all of our members, but I also, that's also the ask, because I want them, let me know if you're celebrating a milestone anniversary, someone got a promotion, let me know, because as the algorithms change on our platforms, it seems, periodically, I might not see it. So let us know at the chamber so we can push that out. Like we're here to support and celebrate our members. So we want to, continue to evolve in best practices.
Right. Yeah. And I think that's an important point, is that if you're a member of the chamber, it's incumbent on you to make sure that that information is shared with the chamber, because otherwise you can't guarantee that, like you said, that they're going to see it, that y'all going to see it, and that you would be able to push it out. But if you're a member and you've shared this information, then I'm sure that it helps you to have some content, and plus you want to have that membership value that you're sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned referrals. So I think so. I'm curious how you kind of look at that and how you do that, because I think sometimes that individuals go to join a chamber of commerce.
Mhm.
That's what their expectation is that you're going to be pushing them business and different things like that.
Mhm.
Which is different than referrals, but they're going to be that you're going to be making referrals and different things like that. What's it take um, for a business who's joined the chamber to really kind of benefit from that referral kind of network?
So it's like the main thing of the chamber is you have to attend the event and just get your name out there. But like you said, yeah, I can't. So when someone asks for a referral, I'm not just giving one name, I'm giving the whole category, like
Sure.
here, these are all go. But that's some of the misconceptions. It's like, I cannot give you sales leads, I can't generate them for you. But when someone asks, I can get them to you. But on the also the side of the business, attending the events, maybe sponsoring an event, getting involved in the chamber, whether that's joining a committee, even on our website, there is a thing where you can offer B2B deals to your other businesses that are a member of the chamber. That way you're just continually promoting yourself, hosting a meeting, even like I said, our connections and coffees. We have different businesses that host the event. They provide the coffee and a little sweet treat, but that's getting people into your business. And actually more of that event, more deals and connections have been made than any of our other events. So it's great. Um, yes, there's offering chamber exclusive deals to different members. It's just the collaboration and just working together.
Right. So you had mentioned committees and different things like that. What are some of the committees you have, and what's the kind of the path for a member business person to get engaged with that?
We will take any volunteer. So I
Okay,
mean,
right.
absolutely, because and we have our traditional, we have our golf committee, we have Hilliard Women in Business. So we're trying to, develop and get that more out there. We had Betsy Goldstein last year. She talked about Intel. She's actually taking this quarter off to revamp her presentation. We hope to have her back out first quarter of 2025
Mhm.
to just talk about and then she talked about the Honda EV plan as well. Just things like so we call it HWIB, Hilliard Women in Business. And then we have the Taste of the Town. We actually had that last week at the McCoy. Um, so we are a very like volunteer driven organization. And then we have our Holly Fest, which is coming up. If anybody would love to volunteer, it is a craft show at Hilliard Davidson High School, Saturday, December 7th from 9 to 3. With this also helps our operating costs, but it also goes to our scholarship fund, which is now endowed thanks to the hard work of Libby and our board for the past 35 years. So that generates scholarships to our 3 high schools and Tolles Technical Center. We award over $32,000 each year to students. And to date, we've given away $617,000.
Okay. Great.
Then we
Yeah.
have the Business Advocacy Committee. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you, I remember, they said, I've known Libby
Mhm.
a long time. And it just seems to me that, I don't know if it just happened to be when I talked to her, but she was oftentimes involved with the Holly Fest. So that seemed
Yeah.
to
So yeah, it's
be.
about 5,000 people come through the door in those 6 hours. And we have 118 crafters, so in the field house and in the gym. This year we had a record number of applicants. We had over 200 for 118 spots. We have a third-party jury. We don't decide who's in the show in-house.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
yes. So
Yeah.
that's the next big event.
Yeah. When did you say that was?
Saturday, December 7th.
December 7th. Cool. Cool. Yeah. Like I said, I just have heard that from her multiple times about how great that was. So, so that's really cool. So talk about the dues structure. So I think it's important for a small business owner to be obviously cognizant that they're going to need to pay dues and they need to get the return. So we've talked about kind of how you get the return part, but different chambers do things different ways. I know that you guys have a certain way you do your dues structure. Can you talk in general about kind of what people should expect from that, how that should work, what the renewals kind of look like, different things like that? And, obviously your experience with that.
So our dues are calendar year. We do prorate once it hits July. But right now we are back up to, if you join now, you get 15 months for the price of 12. So you have October 24 all the way through the end of next year, 25. We are an employee share dues structure model. So it's what you pay is based upon how many number of employees that you have. There are other area chambers that have gone to a tier structure. You pick A, B, or C. I don't know if we're there. I know we're not there yet. As I said, the majority of our members are smaller businesses, and we want to include everybody. So I say renewals go well. That's actually letters will start going out end of October, early November, to try and get them to renew. And also with our membership, there's other benefits too than just what we discussed. There's also a MIWA, a multi-employer welfare fund, so that health insurance. It's Blue Cross Blue Shield Anthem.
Okay.
So some people join solely for the membership, just so it's 2 employees plus, then they're available to get the health insurance. We also have workers' comp discount with Sedgwick. Julie Mitchell provides business consultations, like where you can save money on your overhead. So there's other than just the connections and the networking, engaging, there's some hard coded benefits as well.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because I know that oftentimes my experience has been, the health insurance can be really valuable for a company to be in there, and that really becomes their value, and it, for lack of a better word, it kind of holds them as in there, because again, there's so much value there. So yeah, that's really important. When So I know you guys don't do this, but or whenever, the tier structure. I mean, when you say that, what does that mean?
So they're just, it's like, think of it like school picture day. You're going to
Okay.
pick your package, what best suits your company and your needs at that time. So it's a little bit, I mean, and you can make it what you want. Like sometimes it can come, does it come with a force? Like what additional value can it come with? Like, is it a golf foursome? Is it a sponsored post? Is this, email blast? Um, and there are, like I said, again, the chamber world has great resources, and there are professionals that will come out and help you and your board transition to that. I think we're a couple years away from that. As I told my board when I started, I said I want to just go through the whole cycle of a year of being in this position before
Yeah.
any changes are made. Um, and my board is lovely, so they were accepting of that.
Mhm.
So yeah, the tiers, and it's a whole different animal. So you do need a professional to come in and help facilitate that.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. Um, Talk to me. You mentioned the board. I mean, what's the makeup of the board that you have? You don't need to give individual businesses if you don't want, but what kind of makeup is that? Is it all, I know the answer to this isn't, it's not all big businesses or small businesses. I mean, it's obviously representative, but what's your board composition look like?
We have probably 2 big corps, and the rest are small, 2 to 3 big, and the rest are smaller businesses. No solopreneurs on the board, but they're very engaged, and they're just active community members in their own right. And they see that, they want to support and see everyone be successful. So it's, I said, they're a great board. They're just let us know how we can help. So I appreciate their willingness to do that. Like I said, last week at Taste of the Town, they were there checking people in, helping set up. So they show up when needed.
Yeah. How does the how does a business, so say somebody joins and they're very community oriented and different things like that, what's it take to them ultimately to get to be part of that board if that's what they chose to do?
Yeah. So I guess like the traditional path that we've followed is kind of join, show up to the events and or volunteer, become an ambassador. That way they're touching more of our membership and being and then we kind of identify, because we want to have a diverse businesses on our board, so it's not heavy one way, financial, healthcare, one or another. Just kind of like, yeah, volunteer, ambassador, committees come onto the board.
Okay. Yeah. And that makes sense. I mean, you need to know about the organization. You need to know what's going on for you to, be able to have an impact at that level. And that is a lot of work. I mean, again, in an organization with 480 members and two paid staff people, like you said, it's really critical that board is there. I know that I've spoken at some of your lunch events and different things over the years, and good representation always from the board and the board president, and be able to kind of meet them and talk to them. I mean, it's always really cool. So um so how would you differentiate, and I know we really didn't talk about this, but differentiate a chamber of commerce from a trade association?
I think the trade association is a very specific set end goal. Just and they might have different criteria, whether they're trying to, if there's an accreditation that they have to get and maintain each year for their business.
Mhm.
Or the chambers, like we're trying to be well-rounded and do what we do well, whether it's, with the connection events, education, and just marketing our businesses. Where the trade associations you join to get ideas from your like businesses. And that is something that we are in development with, is identifying different markets. Like if you work from home, come into our office like we do. We have a round table once a quarter, just brown bag lunch, bring it and just talk about, what are your struggles with being a at-home business, or working from your house, like, with the whole thing, which we did learn the other day that Google can mask your address, your home address, if you work at home, kind of like a Google phone number. It's so the post office knows to send the mail to your house, but at least to the world and the internet, it's a fake address.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
just letting them know that. So like just identifying the different groups based on location, um, category that they have identified themselves in, just creating different groups to connect with.
Mhm. What do you see? I know you've only been involved with this particular piece for a little while. What do you see as the future of chambers of commerce? There's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, obviously, um, the co-working spaces that are popping up and different things like that create a lot of community within that. You know, how do you see kind of all of this stuff kind of working together as we progress?
I think it'll only get better, and I can only speak for obviously Hilliard specific, but we're about to have our fourth co-working space open up in Hilliard,
Yeah. Right. Mhm.
and they're all members of the chamber. So it's just, I think, like I said, community specific, but just like how we're all supporting each other. We all want to see everybody win. But I think the future of the chamber, and that's what I said, like we didn't focus so much on continuing ed and different offerings, but now hearing that, we're making up for it and developing that. So it's just, it's not just like hearing the feedback and then doing it.
Right. Yeah, I think that's going to be key, is to really have those kind of partnerships,
Mhm.
because again, I don't know that the chamber unto itself, not just yours, any chamber unto itself can long term have this continued success without having these partnerships and connections. And we just use that as an example, the co-working spaces and different things like that. Not that that's super new, but the heavy influence of these co-working spaces is new, I think.
Mhm.
And really trying to have that value there, because again, it's one of those things where somebody has to potentially pay to join and be part of a co-working space, and they would join and pay to be part of the chamber. So again, having, really creating that value so that everybody wins. And I think that was a great example that you stated there. And so tell me, we talked about this when you and I talked before this. Um, just tell me about Hilliard. I mean, what's some of the accolades that they've gotten, and kind of what makes hey, you're great. And, some of the plans, I mean, I know there's a lot of expansion plans there. Mhm.
Yeah, there's a lot of expansion. So there's we just had 4C, their ribbon cutting last week. They are a French owned battery company. They make batteries from lawnmowers all the way up to school buses.
Mhm.
And they opened up their North American headquarters here in Hilliard. So it's very exciting for us.
Yeah.
Other things that are we for the second year in a row. So our city has been amazing about innovation and continuing to develop our city. But we were named the top 7 finalists for innovative smart cities. We're the only one of 2 in the United States. So they are going to Barcelona next month to see if we won.
Mhm.
Also been named best hometown for 2024-25. Another award, we top suburb, the best suburb to do business for this year for the second year in a row. There's just people are choosing to have their headquarters here. Like ADS is moving their headquarters just over to Truman Point. That's being built over on Truman Boulevard. You see it when you drive by on 270, sandwiched in between Cemetery and Davidson Road.
Right.
Next week, Eco Plumbers is breaking ground on their new headquarters in Hilliard. So there's a lot of, like I said, a lot of development, but a lot of excitement, and that people are legitimately choosing Hilliard to work, play, live.
Right. And I think the great thing about that is that as that community starts to grow, um, that's going to raise the tide. I get back to the rising tide thing. I mean, for a small business owner to have their business located there, you can't do anything but have a lot of value. Mhm.
Yeah, I know I talked about like the big ones, but like even one of our 1 to 3 employee businesses, he's moving his business into a new building in Hilliard, and we're looking forward to having their ribbon cutting in December once they're all set up shop. So yeah, there's a lot of movement, big, small, and just celebrating everyone.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot of really great stuff going on. There's a lot of great stuff going on in Central Ohio in general. But I know that Hilliard's been really aggressive on the positive side of creating that environment for small businesses and businesses to succeed, which is what's, I think, causing that growth in there. So I think that's really, really important. And I think the Chamber of Commerce is really critical to that, because it is that voice of business. It's that voice of small business, that that your members can count on as you go forward. Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So with that, we are going to start to wind down, but what is, let me ask you this. So what is kind of one thing that, if I'm asking in 2 parts. So if I'm a chamber member in the Hilliard Area Chamber of Commerce, what is one thing that you would recommend that they do to get more value out of their membership with your chamber?
I
We may
would
have talked
say,
about a lot of this, but
yeah, I think the biggest thing is showing up. Like I said, we offer a whole different range of events, paid, free, it just, but just like, and to just let me know, like, we just, like I said, we don't know what we don't know, but I need you to show up, participate, and doesn't, just the regularity and getting out there, the community, and just knowing, and it's just being part of the community, because with the presence of being in the community, part of the chamber, that only strengthens your brand recognition and credibility.
right, right. And we talked about this, and I've thought this all along. So whatever chamber I've been involved in personally or engaged with, you mentioned showing up, and we've said that multiple times today, but it's not just, hey, show up. It's getting involved so that you get out of your chamber membership really what you put into it. Yeah,
Mhm.
you're paying dues, and you're getting some things that are provided, based on those dues. But for you to really get it, you've got to, really put the effort into it. And the more effort you put into it, the more focused effort, more
Mhm.
strategic effort, the more you're going to get out of it, and it's going to help you build your business.
Exactly.
Yeah. So the second part of that question, if you are a small business in Hilliard, I'm assuming showing up's the same thing, but what would you think about in terms of I'm interested in the chamber. Saw this great small business breakthroughs with Courtney, and we now got a sense of it. But what should they be thinking about in terms of, hey, I got to figure out, is this something that I want to do?
I mean, definitely give me a call, shoot me an email. Where Tanya and I are both very accessible. Or make an appointment and come by the office. But just to say like what, it's like what, yeah, talk about what their goals are, and we can tell them how we can align with that and support them. But it's like being bigger than yourself. It's just like, and everyone, it's just, and like you said, making the focus effort. A lot of us are overscheduled, but just making that the effort to be there when it makes sense. Yeah, quality over quantity.
Right, right. Okay, great. Well, before we close, there's a couple things that I want to mention. Our next small business breakthrough will be on October 24th, and we will have Chris Cooper and Michael Palomeri from the Ohio Employee Ownership Center, and they will be talking about succession planning for small businesses. So when you think about your small business, oftentimes you're the owner, you have an ownership structure put into place, and you may have, some sort of retirement piece, but your retirement planning is your business. So building that out and getting it so that it is getting value is important. And that's the succession planning piece. So on October 24th, we will have that. And then on October 2nd at 1 o'clock, that's a Wednesday, we're going to have a special small business breakthrough with Pamela Alvaro, who is our newest SBDC advisor. She is a bilingual advisor who also speaks Spanish, and she is heading up our Latino SBDC. So she offers small business advising and small business training in Spanish, and she is accessible and available. She joined us in June, so we're going to be doing a special session with her as part of our Latino heritage and Hispanic heritage celebrations that are going on right now. And if you haven't done so, go check out our YouTube channel. Be under Ohio SBDC. There's a number of SBDCs around the state that have YouTube channels, so make sure you're checking ours out. But that's where you can find all of the small business breakthroughs that we've done. You'll be able to find this small business breakthrough in a couple of days. And we have a variety of other things on there. We have some other stuff that I think is really valuable that you can go check out. We have on the new beneficial ownership piece that we have a video in there. We have other things around funding and things like that that can be really valuable. So go check that out if you haven't done so. And then probably by Saturday, you'll be able to go back and check out Courtney on this one. So be sure to do that. Courtney, I really appreciate you jumping on here. Like I said, I've worked diligently to get your mother on here for a while, but she was always so busy, and we never were able to make that connection. But I'm really glad that you've come on, and I'm really glad that you're part of this now, because I think that you're really positioned well to take the Hilliard Area Chamber of Commerce into the future and be successful, because it's, for the small businesses.
Thank you. That's very kind of you.
Yeah. So again, thanks for joining us. Thanks to everybody who jumped on here. We really appreciate that. And everybody who watches this on our YouTube channel, we look forward to seeing you in the future with our small business development, small business breakthroughs. We will see you all soon. Thank you very much.